3 months later, she actually passed away. So I was 15 years old when I buried my first daughter.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today, I have Lena Cebula with me. Lena and I have been working together for the last few months or so. And today I wanted to have her share her story with you because holy crap, is it ever crazy. So Lena, I'm just going to let you take it away. Tell us who you are, what your story is, and yeah, go ahead.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lena, and I am a wife and a mother of 3 beautiful children. I am a writer and blogger, and I'm activist for children in crisis and victims of human trafficking. But this is my new journey because it started just recently after God gently nudged me to write a book about his miracles in my life. And I never thought that after 20 years of silence, this is what I'm gonna be doing publicly, sharing my story. But it's amazing that, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous.
That's okay.
Yes, but
where's your story start, Lena? Why don't you just start from the beginning?
Yes. 4 years ago, I came home and I knew that I have to write a book about miracles. So I chose to write all the good parts of my story. So it took me 3 months actually to finish my book. And I was so excited that my English is good enough that I could copy and paste everything by myself. But God confronted me that I wasn't being honest, because actually my first miracle happened when I was less than 10 years old, when I was actually asking God if he's real. It took me another 3 years actually to write the rest of the book and wrestle with the pain in my past. But God was so gracious, and he put right people into my life who was speaking truth and encouraging me and loving me, because I thought if I share my story and open up of who I really was, people would judge me and reject me and leave me. That's why I keep this for a long time as a secret. Because my life, well, I born and raised in Ukraine. As any kid, it was wonderful and interesting until I actually started growing up and seeing how destructive like my parents' behavior was. And they are become the alcoholics. Maybe I will read part of the book just for
Sure.
you to understand, because by the way, this is my book and it's beautiful, and I will tell you maybe a little bit about the cover, because I took this picture and I saw exactly what colors I'm gonna have and what picture I'm gonna do. But when I actually received the book, it's just fantastic. And the name of it, Miraculous, and it says my journey from hell to heaven. And that's exactly what happens like with my story. And this pearl necklace, my friend Tom, who you're gonna read about in this book, presented me at my wedding. And he actually went to my husband and asked his permission to give me this expensive gift. And I thought it was funny because Tom is like my family, but he said this is respect, you know, because no other man should give you any expensive gift because he's your husband now. And this locker, it reminds me of my mother's locker. And it's funny that it's made it to this picture, because this is the hardest relationship I ever had with anyone. It's my mom. And this one, golden leaf, it's actually a real maple leaf that they dip in gold. And I bought it one of the kind show. And yes, it's very, very beautiful, and it's master color. It's significant as well, because in the Bible, God saying that if you have faith as a mustard seed, you can move the mountain. So I'm gonna read you this part of the part of my story, and I tell you the rest of it. Okay.
Absolutely, because this story is so moving, Lena, and I think people would really benefit from hearing it.
Thank you so much. My home, if you can call it home, was always full of strangers, coming and going as they pleased. Young guys were flirting with me, and old farts would shamelessly hit on me. My parents did nothing to protect me, so I became an easy target. There were times I was drunk in the basement of our apartment and raped. Sometimes I'll be lucky and have warning that men were coming. That way I could jump out of my window and disappear for a few hours, thankful to escape their torment for time being. When I had no warning, if the men were in the mood to play, I was the readily available victim. This abuse and torture only hardened my heart further. I eventually turned to drugs to ease some of the pain. Although I had few physical scars at the time, my soul was thoroughly marred. There were yet more heartbreak on the way. When I thought things couldn't get any worse, I woke up one day with severe abdominal pain. Until then, I had never experienced pain so excruciating. Like all my bones were breaking, all my muscles were contracting at the same time. I had no fear, so I stayed a fever, so I stayed in bed hoping the pain would just go away. As the day wore on and my pain increased, I could not stay quiet. Eventually, my mother responded to my wailing, perhaps the only time I've known an ounce of motherly affection from her. I put my head on her lap and she gently stroked my hair. Despite the pain, I could have stayed in that tender moment forever. Finally, my mother's love. But it was over as quick as it had started. She decided I needed a doctor. Once at the doctor's office, I became apparent that I was actually having labor pains. I was giving birth. I was shocked and confused, waiting for some type of explanation. You have to be pregnant to have a baby, I thought, hoping it was all a mistake. You are having a baby, the doctor confirmed. Time froze and I became paralyzed as dread washed over me. Then guilt and shame. How could my starving, emaciated, and often intoxicated body sustain an innocent life, little baby without me knowing? I decided to leave the clinic. The doctor stopped me and called the ambulance to take me to the hospital, while my mother stood in the periphery. In that moment, I hated her the most I ever had felt. How did she not see this coming? Then the hate turned inwards again. How did I not see this coming? I hated myself for not knowing. My water broke and the pain and fear escalated. I was ready to pass out. I was familiar with the doctor's disgust. I had encountered it many times before. Only this time, he started to scold my mother as well. She wasn't having that, so she left. I was alone again. Defeated, I followed the instructions without arguing. Surrounded by strangers, I thought this was the end. My labor was intense but quick. Within 2 hours, my baby was born. Her tiny pink body was alive, wiggling, making noises. The nurse put her on a table beside me. As I turned to face her, I was again astounded that my abused body was able to carry something so pure. But deep down, I knew the alcohol, drugs, and starvation would all have an impact on her health. The pediatrician counted her fingers and toes, all was fine there, but something else was wrong. She said that we should schedule a meeting with the head of the hospital to review our options. So this is like some of the part of the story because I was so shocked because I didn't know who her father was. I didn't know she was pregnant. I I was so broken and it yeah, it scarred me for life. That's why I started using even harder drugs because the end of the that story, actually I have to sign my parental rights from her so she would stay in the hospital because she wasn't fully developed and I couldn't take her home, and I actually have to give up my child, and I felt like I'm exactly like my mother, and it's broke me, so I'm start looking for some like harder drugs 3 months later, she actually passed away. So I was 15 years old when I buried my first daughter. And yeah, people was getting ready for Christmas and New Year, and I actually got some money and I buried her properly. Although the guy in the morgue said just get a shoebox and put her under the tree, like, but I felt like I owe her at least that proper burial. So next 3 years, like I was like hardcore on drugs, and I know like I don't know like what drugs like means to you guys, but I was smoking weed. I drink like countless amount of booze. I use heroin. I was like on ecstasy. Like I smoke opium and crack, like everything, like all the hardcore stuff that you can imagine, because it was easier than feel like worthless and hopeless and useless. And it's actually stopped my brain from that anxiety asking like, why me, why this is happening. Or another big question, like, is there more, like why what I'm doing. So 3 years gone like 3 days, and people around me was going to jail, dying from overdose, like being beat out by the cops. Like it was so much mess like around me. So I heard this little voice in me, like, you know what, do you want to go to jail or die? So that's self-preservation, I guess, kick in and say I don't want to end up in any of those roads, and I want to out. I want to get out. I want to quit drugs. I want to clean up. I want to do something better with my life. And actually, I met a guy who said like, oh, absolutely, I can help you, because I'm start talking about it and seeking help, because nowhere I could go really. But yeah, he brought me to his friend, and she was like very fancy rich lady, and she offered me all the nice sweets. And like honestly, it's so crazy that I was so blown away that she have like coffee creamer, like that's how bizarre for me like was that she has like and food and really nice home and everything, because this is everything that I never had. So I was really impressed. And she said like, I can help you, I can get you off the streets and get you a job, all this stuff. I'm like, of course, like it sounds like the golden ticket. So I didn't really ask any questions. I just want to get around, because I knew no other way I can come out just like with some help. So yeah, her team started working on me. They did my hair in this fancy salon. They dressed me up, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. I was like clean and smell nice and like full of makeup. But then I'm thinking like, this is like something fishy about it. Like, what is that? So yeah, they actually brought me like to the embassy, and say like, this is what you're gonna say, that's what you're gonna do. They make me passport and everything. I'm like, okay, I'm going to Israel. I don't care. I go anywhere. And it's really in some bizarre way like sounded like adventure, because it was different and new, and I'm young, and like it was an opportunity, to get out from my little like stinky dirty like place of this city that I've been
Mm-hmm.
living with. So yeah, and yeah, so I told my script and it didn't go through. So they denied my visa to Israel, and they go, oh, it's okay. Like everybody got really like angry and stuff, because like, I don't know, they felt like maybe like I underperformed, but like I was still heavy like on drugs as well, because it was still that period that I was like part of everything. So I don't remember actually. They say just you have another way. I don't remember no plane ride, no bus rides, no car rides, nothing. I just I was so high. And one day I just opened my eyes and it was so hot in the room. And the room was so interesting and different, because like the like construction of it was like huge arches, was no windows, like air blowing. And it was like winter time too. I was like wearing my boots and plaid short and jacket, like winter jacket. And it was so warm. So it was kind of like weird contrast. I'm waking up and it's like warm air. And then on top of it, I hear this noise saying, Allahu Akbar. I was like, what? what is this, And I look outside the window and I saw clementines growing outside. And it's, you know, for the kid who see clementine one time on Christmas time or winter time, and they give you as a present because it's so precious. So like they were like, it was falling on the ground. I was like, what is this? So there was like another few girls with me, and I discovered that I actually in Cairo, Egypt. I'm like, okay, I still like, it took me, I think because I was so blown away by the surroundings, it took me like so much faster come out from my withdrawals, but yeah, it took probably like 3 to 4 days like to actually being dying. Like I have like, I don't know if you guys like anyone have babies, so it's like multiply that with really crazy flu and cold when like you literally, I think that's why lots of people don't quit drugs, because they scare of that 1 week that actually sometimes body cannot handle, and people died of withdrawal because the system cannot just reboot itself and like so dependent on drugs. So yeah, that was like, yeah, dying for 3 days, because usually it's last week or longer. But because I was so like, my brain was so excited, because no way like I would ever end up like in Egypt on my own in any way. But I really like the Cleopatra and Nile and all these like stories. So I was like blown away. So it was exciting, because my brain still doesn't understand what the heck is going on. So we have two guys that they walk with us. We ate in restaurants, we walk in the Red Sea. Like, so it was like dream come true, like seeing this, experience this. And until like next day, like we got the raid, and the police like took one of the guys like like in jail. And then yeah, and then we end up like being alone, literally interrogated and everything, but they let us go. So we end up like in the middle, like, so like I don't know how many, 5 of us was there, but we end up like being in the middle of the like Egypt by ourselves, no English, no Arabic, no anything. And literally, I think like Russian women are amazing. So, we just literally sit like on a curb and we brainstorm. We have no money, we have no passports, because like we have like nothing, no language. Like it was bizarre that we actually sit down and brainstorm. Like we know like one person who they didn't get somewhere back in Cairo, and we were like 6 hours away from Cairo. So we actually find the guy, the taxi driver, who would take us all in with the like some kind of broken explanation that if we find that guy, he get paid. So this guy actually drove us for 6 hours, and in the middle of that desert, he fed us with the food and he gave us food. I don't know, just I think like grace of God, it was there like over us, because somebody remembered the hotel, somebody remembered the name, somebody remember like, not like me in the cloud, somebody like those little bits and pieces we put together, and we actually come back. That guy was actually checking out the time we walk in the hotel. It was surreal. But he said, he was blown away that we actually got back. And he goes like, well, we have like off schedule, but we still have a course and stuff.
So Lena, I want to make sure that there's still, we don't tell the whole story. People got to go and read this, right?
Definitely.
So what were these people trying to do with you? Like what was their intent here?
Yes. Well, that's what happened. Actually, they sold us. They sold us in the human trafficking into foreign country. So I actually been in the brothel for 2 years, almost 2 years, like in Israel.
Yeah. And despite being trafficked and being in a brothel, and how many times did you get off of drugs?
I quit drugs by myself, cold turkey, like really big time, twice, but like I quit like heroin.
Yeah. So having to go through that twice, and now you've ended up in Canada and had to learn English, right? And now you're a mother of three and you're running your own business. And what was it that made the difference for you that got you to where you are?
That's a really good question. And actually, like, yes, that's very interesting. Um, so all my life, I was thinking like, you know what, if I would have like good men, like who love me, if I would have home and if I have like my own family, like some different, I don't know, different purpose, you know, like then like I would have end peace and I would have a good life and I would have a happiness. And here, when I came to Canada, I thought, oh my gosh, this is like, we can wipe this slate clean and start like from zero. So that's what I took. I took this opportunity to actually make it changes and be a different person. But I have like that was my friend Tom. He was like my first light. He was by my side, you know, no matter what, no matter how I behave, because honestly, you have to understand all my lifestyle actually make me like very broken and very socially unfit. But he still was like by my side and keep saying like, oh, I can see light in you. So you know what? One good person in your life can actually make it humongous difference.
Yeah.
And he said to me like, what would you like to do? And I said, I would like to be a hairstylist. But and that's what, like, I took all the like Canada would offer me, like, you know, like I went on welfare, I rent my small room in the house, I went to government credit school, but I finished with 96%. I got my diplomas, I got my licensing. I sweep the floors in the salon, you know, to start from scratch. I learned English. Took me probably 3 years to be comfortable to actually understand everything. And I was in the hair school, like I already finished my hair school when I met my husband. That time is a boyfriend, and he crazy fell in love with me, and he was Christian boy, and he didn't care about my past. He didn't care the way I behave, you know. So for him, I want to change. I want to have a
Yeah.
different life because I want to be better for him because there's someone was loving me like for who I am. So that was very interesting. And then we moved in together and our beautiful baby girl was born. But I went through like hell of anxiety thinking like that she's gonna die just like my first baby. And there was no drugs anymore to run to, like, so I want to be like clean, so I wasn't like drinking, smoking or anything like at all. So I thought that's how like proper wife behave, you know. But it was very hard because I never really like thought this is gonna be like my life. So it was like a kind of wild domesticated animal, you know, like, and I
Yeah.
was alone and lonely and I was depressed. I have anxiety. Like I took her to the doctor 200 times. I had no one really like helped me to get through like postpartum
Yeah.
depression. And I didn't even know that I was depressed until actually probably a couple years after. I'm like, whoa. But that's that's I think like when I first time I actually turned to food as my drugs, because like it was only one way I could deal. And I do believe, because actually I thought about this today, because it's socially acceptable. If I would
Yeah.
go like and do heroin like to fix my head, that's wrong. But if I eat like until I was like from size 10 to 18, that was okay. You
Yeah.
know, that was kind of like that was like my way out. And that's how now I'm realizing I'm dealing with food. Actually, that's my coping mechanism, and that's what I'm dealing with my problems with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what advice, you've gone through a lot in your life. I think I think it's safe to say that. And what advice would you give to someone who's feeling really stuck?
Well, I think like for me, like the most like revelation was like that I'm not alone, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because like I was haunted by this stuff that I'm alone because like my family abandoned me. I always been like, abused, abandoned, so I'm alone. But actually, I do, like, God saved me, He brought me to community, He brought me to church, He brought me to people who actually was uh, intentionally was asking like, how you doing, how you been. But then when I give my life to Christ, actually I got that peace, I got that um, salvation and forgiveness. And I think like the most important, people don't forgive themselves. I think that's what it is. God forgive us like that. You pray the prayer and you forgive it. But I think like we don't forgive and we don't believe that we're worth it, like another chance, another life. We don't believe that we are worth it to be loved because we've
Yeah.
done something. We hurt some people. But I think like we are our own worst enemy because we don't forgive ourselves, you
Yeah,
know.
absolutely. Yeah. And so once that changed for you, everything really changed, right?
Absolutely, because I allowed God to love me, I allowed myself to love me, I allowed my husband to love me and stop questioning like why he's doing this. And it brings the freedom in the fact that you love others too. So like you don't
Hmm.
judge yourself and you love others now. Like I've been like so rude and selfish and obnoxious and angry because I hate it. I hate it like everything. And now when like I was filled with this goodness, I love to serve. I want to help. I want to do. That's why I've been doing my a hair salon. I love to make ladies, like women, like, and people in general feel beautiful because we are beautiful and we are good enough. And I want them to see that, like, wow, like, and those times actually allowed me to pour that goodness into people too and
Yeah.
encourage them, and they encouraged me. So it was really beautiful. But then with this book, I actually have to come back and deal with my past. I think it was great opportunity for me actually to have a different perspective like on my past, because now I'm healed, I'm redeemed, I'm forgiven. So looking back, I actually built back relationship with my mother, with my sister. I led my father to Christ. So it's actually was like amazing like lesson for me as well, because I kind of got my therapy for 4 years. I was writing and crying and dealing with
Yeah.
that, but from the good place, because you cannot deal with the past while you still like kind of going through. But I took like that chunk, like almost 20 years calm to pass, and now I have my family. I am healthy, my children are beautiful and healthy, my relationship with my husband is amazing too. So writing this book, it was like my therapy. And I
Yeah.
honestly, I kid you not, I recommend everybody to write this story. Just write this story from where you are looking back, because you're gonna see how strong you are, how resilient you are, how faithful God is, how amazing the people around you, and you're not gonna feel that you're lonely and alone. If you reach out to anybody who close to you, they'll be there for you.
Yeah. Amazing. So we're running out of time here. Um, so to wrap things up, where can people find your book?
I have this on Amazon.ca, and it's called Miraculous by Lena Cebula. You can get it hardcover for $30, and I have a soft cover for $20. You can email me and I can sign you copy if you would like as well. But next Tuesday on January 14th, I believe is this. And I gonna have book signing event, and I gonna post there as well.
Awesome. So the link to the Amazon will be somewhere in the description, and we'll post the link to your book signing event in there as well, right?
That would be awesome.
All right. And if someone wants to contact you to give a speech about your story,
Absolutely.
can they email you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm open and willing. I want you to guys post about this book, post the reviews, take the pictures, send it to your friends, give it to your friends as a gift, because I want to spread this story of salvation, because there are people who need to hear this. People need to hear that they're loved, that they forgiven, that everything can, I don't know, like I do believe like our past is not our present. We put ourselves there. We can move on and overcome because we are amazing, we are resilient, and we are so, so loved by God. We just need to let Him love us.
Right. Absolutely. Um, it's an incredible book. I was absolutely blessed that um, I won one as a at an event that we were at, and then I went out and bought one so that I could give it to someone else. And you know, at some point in our lives, we come across books that we just can't put down. And I read the book in 2 sittings. I was like, incredible, and I was so inspired by the book. And like seriously, if you're watching this, go read it. It's an incredible story. And Lena, you're an inspiration. You're strong. You're incredible. So you're miraculous.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'm so, so grateful that we met too, because honestly, you were that missing link in my life as well. Because now when I'm healed, redeemed, and I feel like good in my heart and my mind, now it's time to take care of my body and figure out how to get me like the best health I can get. Because honestly, this is my last thing that I can get under my belt, and it's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah.
So I think like with your help and with help of your community, would be like my best year yet. So I'm
absolutely
very excited.
And it's coming. We're getting there.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you everyone for watching. If you have any questions, reach out to Lena. She's awesome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Bye.
Bye.